everyone. So today we're going to be doing a sad video, kind of. It's about the disappearance of little William Tyrell. If you're from New South Wales, you should probably know about this case. It is pretty sad, and we do still get TV shows and whatnot about it, even though it is starting to get like onto the older side of cases. It's not looking too promising, but it's also such a messed up case, like just what's happened and what has come out in the past few years has been super interesting. So I'm going to just read what is here from Wikipedia, because I do know a lot about the case, but there has been so much new information that's come through that I haven't been able to keep up with it. So I'll just get started. So William Tyrell, he's best known from Aussies because of his Spider-Man outfit. Google his name, the first thing that's going to pop up is him in a Spider-Man outfit, and he's so gorgeous and so cute. Anyway, so the disappearance was on the 11th of September 2014. William Tyrell, was 3 years old, and he had foster parents, so he wasn't living with his biological mum and dad. He lived with his foster parents, and he had a 5-year-old sister in I'm guessing the foster family as well. They travelled for 4 hours from Sydney to visit his foster grandmother in Kendall. So pretty much you can find photos of the house everywhere. It says it's in Benaroon Drive, and it is surrounded by bushland. You've got to cross like 3 meters of road to get to bushland that just goes on and on and on. So, once again, like, I guess you could say perfect scenery for a disappearance of a small child, or kidnapping, or whatever you want to call it. So again, it was just out of Port Macquarie, and his foster grandmother's house was just surrounded by bushland. Okay, so the next day, so they were traveling there on the 11th of September. On the 12th of September, between 10 a.m. and 10:25 a.m. William and his sister were playing hide and seek in the front yard, while his foster mother and his foster grandmother were sitting outside watching them. The foster mother and the foster grandmother were having a cup of tea. There was a photo of William taken a few minutes before his disappearance of him in his Spider-Man outfit. He was obviously going through a Spider-Man phase, and that was his new obsession. His foster mother, while she was in making a cup of tea, she became worried after she hadn't heard from him in 5 or so minutes. So she began searching the yard, the house. Shortly after, William's foster father returned home. It didn't say where he was or what he was doing, but he returned home. I think it was business that he was doing, and they all started knocking on neighbors' doors and searching the streets and the home and whatnot. Okay, and then at 10:56, William's foster mother called 000. If you're not in Australia, 000 is our emergency services number. Like 911 is like a lot of Americans' emergency service number. And she rang up and reported him missing. The New South Wales police force arrived at 10:06, so literally like 10 minutes after they called 000, they were at the scene. His foster mother said that her last memory of William was William like he was pretending to be a tiger and roaring and going like rah rah, and he was running towards the side of the house or something like that. And then there was silence and he had disappeared. So yeah, okay. So the investigation, hundreds of members of the Emergency State Service and the Rural Fire Services, members of the community, etc., searched for William all day and night. Specialist police, including sex crimes, strike force, they became involved. There was motorbikes and helicopters brought in too, so obviously flying over the top, having a look to see if they can see anything. 200 volunteers searched overnight, and they searched waterways, dams. They got professional divers in to search those waterways and dams. It says police searched every house in the estate, and they searched the foster grandmother's house several times. Detection dogs were brought in and managed to detect William's scent, but only within the boundaries of the backyard. It says here that the strike force was established with specially trained investigators from the State Crime Command, who were experienced in the unexplained disappearance of young children. It just said that they continued to search for 5 days and police were unable to come up with leads. Okay, so there were some suspected vehicles or sighted vehicles. There were 2 cars parked across the street. It just says one was an older grey style sedan and one was a white station wagon. There's a picture of like what a artist has created of what was thought. Okay, and then it was suspected that so it says here police cleared Tyrrell's family of any involvement, but it's believed the boy was abducted by an optimistic stranger who had connection to a pedophile ring. Police also believe that the boy could be alive in the hands of a group that have been suspected of pedophile activity. But it was eventually determined that the kidnapper was a member of a pedophile ring. So investigators interviewed dozens of people, including people who had those specific charges and crimes within the area. It says that they reported 20 registered S offenders that were living within the area that William went missing. 2 people of interest in the case, both offenders, may have met up on the day of William's appearance. So yeah, that kind of ended up being a dead lead. Reported sightings, there was over 1,000 suspected sightings within 24 hours. And it says in early 2015, 2 passengers and a member of the New Zealand bound flight crew said they saw Tyrrell on an aeroplane. Wow. And then there's another photo showed a young boy and a woman in McDonald's in central Queensland that looked similar to William, and police later confirmed that it wasn't them. William, he had a $1 million reward out for him, and previously the highest reward before them was $500,000 for a murdered teenager called Michelle Bright, but William was now the official highest paying reward of $1 million. This is where I originally thought the parents had no involvement. Now this is my personal opinion, but in 2021, so it was all over the news. I remember it. When I saw it, I called up my mum. I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do. So on the 15th of November 2021, police announced that they had received new evidence and were renewing the search for William in this town of Kendall. This time they weren't looking for him being alive, they were looking for his body. Now, what had happened was there was a suspicion that because they are foster parents, that an accident may have occurred where William was hurt and potentially killed, and they were covering it up, because if you get in trouble and you're a foster carer, any children in your care are going. So they thought that William may have fallen off a balcony, hit his head, while no one was watching him, hit his head and passed away. And they believed that they may have buried him in the big patch of garden beneath there, so they actually ripped that all up in 2021 and they found nothing. But William's biological parents as well, they were cleared. They had absolutely no involvement in this. Now this is what, okay, this thing specifically made me just go, that's not right, that's not okay. So there were charges made against the foster parents within the past few years, I believe for abuse or neglect or something surrounding those things. And the foster parents were in court for quite a bit of time, and they were being slammed in Australia really badly. That's something I really do remember, which I thought was devastating. How can they let that slide? How did it take them so long for them to realize things like this was occurring even when they had William? Was this something that recently happened? If I was a case manager, I would not be allowing children with those foster parents regardless, because they've just lost a child just went missing in their care. I'm not sending any children back there. I would not do that. Anyway, so all the leads ended up being inconclusive, but William, so there's now some suspected people that are involved in the case still. So it is suspected that the people of interest, or they are still being treated as people of interest. His foster mother is being treated as that, and his now deceased foster grandmother is still of interest. They have now put that he is presumed dead, because when you're missing for as long as he has, chances become slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. Especially for his age. He was 3 years old when he disappeared. He's unable to defend for himself. But yeah, other thing I will note that turned up being inconclusive was on the day of William's disappearance, around the same time, there was a repairman on the side of the property fixing his foster grandma's washing machine or something like that, and they thought he might have had something to do with the disappearance because it was just so close together, but again, nothing came from it. So to this day, William is still missing. He has been missing officially as of the 31st of January 2003. He's been missing for 8 years, 4 months and 18 days. It is devastating. He's such a little cutie. If you have a look at his photos, it's one that is like a very big tearjerker for a lot of Aussies. And just to think like that he could potentially be like, he was potentially brought into like S trafficking or like a ring, if you get what I mean. But again, you can go on and watch the 60 Minutes interview, or there is plenty of content online. So I would definitely recommend it. There's nothing. Oh my gosh, no way. Okay, this is new information. I'm sorry. I was about to wrap up the video. In April of 2022, William's foster mother was charged with giving false or misleading information about William's disappearance. So that was an accusation, and she was found not guilty in November 2022. But there was also the charges made against her in relation to other foster children that she had. That's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up the video here. Again, like I've kind of put my thoughts in, but I do think that the foster parents are saying that they're making out they don't know anything, and I think that is a lot similar to the Madeleine McCann case, which I do think the parents have involvement in that case, but they just don't let on as much as they may know. But anyway, thank you for joining. I hope you guys all have a good